it's like trying to figure out how to fix policing. It's like clearly the way to fix policing is not give them unlimited power and let them do whatever they want to do. That's not the way to do it. So is the way to do it to diminish their power greatly and diminish public perception of the police and public opinion of the police to where it is now or where it was during the George Floyd riots at least? No, that's not how to do it. Like defund the police, that's not how to do it either.
I think that's ridiculous, man.
It's ridiculous. The way is through training and education and maybe even elevating the position of being a police officer to make it more difficult to achieve and make it pay better and make them much more highly trained and, treated almost like the way you would treat like special ops groups in the military, where it's an honor to be a part of that group and it's a very difficult power to attain. Because to be a police officer in some places in the country, it's pretty fucking easy. They don't have a lot of cops. And, and you see some cops and they're just grossly overweight. Like some of the saddest things to me are these breakdowns that they do like on video. They'll do like martial arts breakdowns of how bad cops are at physical altercations.
Oh, I've never seen one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
I can picture that being like ripe for comedy in some respects, yeah.
It's ripe for comedy, but it's also ripe for jiu-jitsu instruction.
Like, no kidding. Oh, so you're using the actual practical way.
Yeah, because they're talking about how piss poor these guys are. Like,
I'm with you.
Physical. Imagine like your job is to enforce the law, which may or may not include deadly force. And restraining people, and you don't know how to restrain people. You have no idea how to do it. Like that's a big part of the job, is to be physically capable of engaging in one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat with a person, and you have zero ability.
Yeah, and then to learn it rote enough that you're able to do it without doing like way overblown response.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that. As I've looked at what's happened to public perception of police officers over the last few years, it reminds me of a similar thing I feel about the polarity in America, where you have your experience, you have your lived experience, okay, and then you have the experience that you understand to be true from the news. So from the news, you understand that we're in this period of tremendous divisiveness. And America's splitting apart at the seams. No one wants to engage anymore in a civil function. We're perched on the edge of violence. Okay, you get that, but then you analyze what is going on in your life as you go about your life, like having a job, raising kids, engaging with the public school professionals where your kids go, traveling around the country, riding with Uber drivers, dealing with whoever, okay? And you'd be like, if someone wasn't telling you it was happening, you wouldn't know that it's happening.
Right.
This is a very personal experience for me. I wouldn't know. I would think that it was that we were still having this kind of like an experience of American mutual respect across a bunch of different things. Like that's my experience. Same thing. I grew up where if you saw cops, you'd like turn the radio down, right? Or being like a little bit worried about game wardens because you're probably doing something a little bit like you weren't supposed to do. But now, in dealing with many law enforcement officials I deal with either at work or otherwise, like I wouldn't see it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't see it that the profession that the profession itself was being called into question.
Because it's not your lived experience.
Yeah, it's just like I don't get it. And a lot of people will tell you, well, that's part of the problem because you're privileged in so many ways, so that's your experience. But it's just funny to live in these these like dual realities of what you understand to be occurring and then what you're seeing occurring.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a problem. And also you're dealing with the problems that are occurring to millions and millions of people, in fact, billions all over the world. And the only thing that you read about is things that are bad.
Yeah.
That's a problem too. I was trying to enforce that with people when they have opinions of police officers. I'm like, because there's so many videos of cops doing shady shit. I'm like, yes. There's bad people at every profession. Every fucking profession that exists is just because some people just have poor character. They're just not good at what they do. But there's millions of interactions with cops and people every day, and nothing goes wrong, and they're fine and peaceful. But you don't take that into account. So like when you have an understanding of what's happening in the world in terms of people and their interactions with police officers, it's very biased by the information that you've been subjected to. And that information is almost entirely negative because you're only dealing with the stuff that you see that's horrible unless you've had personal experiences. And then your personal experiences vary greatly depending upon the color of your skin, your economic situation, what part of the world you're living in. You know, I have friends that are black and they talk about getting pulled over and they said they are terrified.
Yeah.
They feel like they could get shot at any moment, where I have never experienced that. I'm always very respectful to the cops. I don't think they think, well, obviously a lot of them know who I am, so that's not a problem too. But it's very different and to try to get like a balanced, nuanced perspective of our problem with police and policing and crime in this country, it's very difficult to be objective, especially if you've had a horrible, negative personal experience or a personal experience of someone that you're close to. Mm-hmm. It's weird. This is also an information issue because you're juggling so much information. You have so much data to process and to try to put it all together and have a nuanced, objective analysis of what it really is.